And so, when do you get picked up by George and OGP, and how does that even happen, right? Like, how do you, because that team, teams like that they don't exist, right? That team
Right.
was a one in a lifetime,
Yep.
opportunity where you have this, really, really wealthy guy that wants to give back and,
Yep.
and is sponsoring Florida guys, running your whole bill, having these mechanics and coaches
Yep.
full time on really, really good pay. How does that come together, and how old are you?
So leading up to all of that, once I was running that Comer Cadet, Gary was kind of mentoring me at that point in time. Gary was really close to Nate, who used to work with Ocala Gran Prix. And after that, he used to go golfing with him all the time. When I got older and older, Gary was still mentoring me, and I was getting better and better and winning races, blah, blah, blah. And then I moved up to junior. I still wasn't sponsored yet. Moved up to junior, and I did one full season in junior running the Florida Winter Tour and everything. Gary was still working on me and tuning with me, and he's putting in a good word, obviously, to Nate and all that. And George, like, hey, listen, like, this kid is getting better and better. I might, keep your eye on him because he might be one of the kids you want to pick up in the future. So after that, my first year in junior obviously was not good at all. Like, I was not good. So after Gary kept working with me and everything, my first ever sponsorship was just for the Florida Karting Championship Series. I was only sponsored to go and run that series only. Nothing was paid for the Florida Winter Tour or anything like that. I was still floating my own bill, doing all the the national races. So I did the Florida Karting Championship Series for my second year. I did pretty well. I was racing against Kyle. I think Oliver was in it. Obviously, they're a lot faster than I was. It took me a long time to kind of reach up to their level. Because they're just natural. Like Kyle was just naturally fast. Oliver was very good, naturally fast. So after that, then obviously when the year went by and I was improving a lot, like I improved drastically in my second year in junior. And then, I did a bunch of testing with the team and all that. And that's kind of when it went into play after the second year in junior, when I was kind of, reaching the peak. We're like, hey, this kid is running times and running up front with people who win in the Florida Winter Tour and stuff like that. So after that, we went and talked to George and everything, and he was like, all right, we're going to go and give him a shot. And I think I had to been 13 or 14, I think, when that went and happened. And then after that was my first full season being fully sponsored on everything, was paid for. And with the team who we were with George, I mean, it was like nobody will ever get something like that in racing ever again. He would even go and fly out my dad to races and all that for no cost. It was just, we were young, so just like you everything is paid for, and you get one parent to go out there and to go and race, and everything was paid for the parent.
So, what it was supposed to be, if I understand it right, you had to do 10,000 laps a year at OGP to kind of keep your spot on the team. Like, what were the other? Is that right? Is that the requirement? Was 10,000 laps, or what was it?
So the main requirement that you had to have was grades.
Okay.
Actually, so you had to go and keep a AB average. Of course, me missing a lot of school, I was not an AB student. People probably step from outside know that kid's an AB student. Was shy, I wasn't. And I did some. So I don't want to say too much, but I made it work. I got by.
Yeah.
So that was the main requirement. He's like, if you go and you drop below this, you're not racing. You cannot race until your grade level comes back up, and which is fully understandable. Because you don't want to go and have racing when we're at a young age kind of hurt your learning experience in school. School always comes first. But I made it work. I got by. I graduated and everything. But you definitely had to go, and we had a lot of days, where it was a 300 lap days, and it was a minimum of running 300 laps. Like, you had to run 300 laps, or you would be booted, quote unquote, off the team, which I'm sure he wouldn't, but it was pretty gnarly. We would do it in shifter. It wasn't in a single speed. It was in shifter around Ocala. Everybody go, oh, Ocala's easy and all that. Well, you run 300 laps in a stock Honda with the MG Yellow in one day in the dead beat of a summer. It's 100 degrees out. Like, that was required. You had to be testing nonstop. And we went up there. It was once a month. Me, Oliver, and Kyle would go all pack in one car, and I would used to go and take a train You know,
Really?
I couldn't even drive. Yeah, I was 15. I couldn't drive. I was 14, 15. I couldn't drive. My dad would drop me off early in the morning on a train, and they would go and drop me off near Jupiter or wherever Kyle was at. We would go and link up because they were a little bit older than I was, or Oliver would drive, and they would go and pick me up, and then we would go off to the racetrack.
Really? So you'd link up, and would you do that like all in one day? Would you go, instead, get a hotel and split? I mean, because you aren't old enough to check into a hotel, legally. So would you go there and then take the train back after 300 plus laps? Really?
So I would, sometimes I did, because I would go and travel, up to where Kyle and Oliver were at, and they would go and pick me up. We would go drive up there. It's all in one day. So the hotel that we stayed at, the Hampton Inn or whatever it was, with the Sky Bar that's upstairs, it was kind of already set. George had a whole schedule of when we needed to be there. We were there once a month, if not twice a month, for testing and the local races, and it was a commitment of 4 hours, a little more than 4 hours to me, from traveling in a train and all that, twice a month or once a month going up there. It was a lot. So all the hotels were already set and everything. We would all go as a team and check in at the hotels and stay up there. And then coming back, we would get done super late at the racetrack. If not, my mom or dad would go and meet Oliver, or if not, my grandpa would be at the racetrack as well. And sometimes I would go back with him, and then the next day he would go and drop me off at the train station, and then that would be near Ocala. And Ocala, on a train all the way back, I think it was around like 7 or 8 hours.
Wow.
And I even I've taken a train from where I'm at in Fort Lauderdale. I've taken a train all the way up near Ocala's, and that was 7 or 8 hours. It was a commitment.
So, did you have second thoughts at all? I mean, that's a lot for a 14, 15-year-old kid. Like, that would push, I think, probably a good amount of people to fall out of love with this sport. Did you have, moments like that where you're like, man, like, I do anything else. I'm not sitting on a train for 8 hours. At high school, everyone's going to understand what I'm doing if I'm playing football or soccer. I'll have a group back home. And, like, did that stuff kind of cross your mind as a teenager?
100%, because I was just like, dude, I'm traveling so much, and obviously as a kid I want to be back hanging out with my friends, doing whatever we do on the weekends or after school. We go and hang out over my buddy's house and everything, and I was just gone so much because at that point in time when I started traveling, I had to do online school. And so when I transferred to online school, it was actually my first year in ninth grade. So I went from eighth grade to ninth grade. I did online school, and I would go on the train, and then for 8 hours straight I'm just on the laptop, trying to go and do schoolwork and all that. And I'm just sitting back thinking, I'm like, this is a lot.
Yeah.
It's, for me being so young and everything, for going 8 hours traveling on a train, or me driving, or even being on a train getting picked up and going up there and nonstop working on the go-kart. I mean, it was a lot for a young kid, to have that commitment, and then the drive was, you had to want it, And the team I was with, I even talked to him about it. I was just like, dude, I'm doing a lot right now. And Kyle and Oliver, we all talked about it, like, oh yeah, no, it sucks, doing it. But, the amount of talent that everybody had and the amount that we all pushed each other to make ourselves better, that's what kind of made us strive to be better. And that's what I wanted to go and do. I'm like, I want to be better than Kyle. I want to be better than Oliver. I want to be faster. Like, I want to be him. You just wanted to be better than your next opponent. And that's what I just kept doing, and just kept pushing.
So did you ever have a talk with your parents about reconsidering, or did it never get to that point? Like, you'd have those moments, and then it'd kind of be like, at the end of the day, I really love this, and I'm committed, and I want to be as good or better than them.
Yeah, I never talked to my parents about, hey, listen, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. We never had that talk. I always, whenever I thought about it, I just kind of relaxed, and I'm like, where I'm at, I have a really good spot. I'm sponsored now. I have to keep digging. I got to better myself, because I don't know what's going to happen in the future.